Hi there guys. In this video we'll be looking at the topic advanced trinomials, which is basically trinomials when the number in front of the x squared is any number other than 1, and also when you can't factor out this number because the other numbers are not divisible by this number in front. The more correct way of referring to this is non-monic quadratic expressions. Quadratic refers to the fact that we have an x squared, and that being the highest power of the expression. Non-monic refers to when the number in front of the x squared is not a 1. Okay, so we're going to be looking at questions like this, and I'll teach you how to factorize it a nice and easy way. Looking at our first expression, we have 2x squared plus 13x plus 15. So, instead of finding the factors of 2 and 15 separately, why don't we combine 2 and 15 and find the factors of them together? So I'm going to multiply 2 with 15, and this gives me 30. And so instead of finding the factors of them separately, I find the factors of 30, which is then 1 and 30. If I divide it by 2, I get 15. If I divide by 3, I get 10. If I divide by 5, I get 6. So these are all the factors of 30. Now, I need to think of a pair of factors that add together to give me the positive 13. Now, 1 plus 30 is 31, 2 plus 15 is 17, 3 plus 10 is 13. So, this works because 3 plus 10 is 13. Right, so watch how I do this now. I now write 2x squared plus 10x plus 3x plus 15. Now the 10 and the 3 comes from the factors that I've chosen. Okay, then I'm going to be pairing these factors. So I factor out a 2x with the first two terms. So if I factor out 2x, I'm left with an x plus 5. Then if I look at the last two terms, I want to factor out a 3. So I take out 3 as a common factor, and I'm left with x plus 5. Notice now that you have a common bracket of x plus 5. So now you can take out x plus 5 as a common bracket. What will you then be left with? If you take out x plus 5 as a common bracket, you'll be left with the 2x and the positive 3. And that's what you write in the other bracket. This is that expression factorized. And I didn't have to do a whole bunch of thinking or cross multiplication. It was just finding the factors, writing them here, and then factorizing using a grouping method, and then finding the common bracket. Let's have a look at more examples. So here's a second example. 6x squared minus 5x minus 4. Let's first multiply the 6 and the 4 to get 24, and now we find the factors of 24. So it's 24 and 1, it's 2 and 12. If you divide it by 3, it's 8, and if you divide it by 4, it's 6. So these are all the factors of 24. Now, which factors minus together is going to give me negative 5. Let me ask the question one more time. Which factors of 24 minus by each other will give me the negative 5? So, if I say 24 minus 1, I get 23. If I say 12 minus 2, I get 10. If I say 8 minus 3, I get 5. If I say 6 minus 4, I get 2. So, 8 minus 3 is 5. But since we want to end up with negative 5, I should say negative 8 and positive 3. Negative 8 plus 3 gives me negative 5. So, here I now write x squared minus 8x plus 3x minus 4. So it's the negative 5x that I'm breaking up into negative 8x and plus 3x. Now I just pair them up. So I'll start with the first two terms. Let's take out the common factor. So if you take out the common factor of 2x, you are left with x minus pardon me, you are left with 3x minus 4. Okay, and if you, well, you can't really take out the common factor here because there's no common factor other than 1. So I guess let's just factor out 1. But it stays the same. So when we factorize this, we're using the grouping method again. So we'll write down the common bracket, which is 3x minus 4. And in the second bracket, you write down what is left, which is the 2x and the 1. Again, that's how we factorize it. Here's a third example. Why don't you pause the video here and give this one a try. When you're ready, press play to continue with the video. Okay, so we'll take the factors of 3 and 6 or we'll take 3 and 6 and we multiply it to get 18. Then we find the factors of 18, which is 18 and 1, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. So again, we need to minus the factors to give us negative 7. Right? So 18 minus 1 is 17, 9 minus 2 is 7. Again, to get negative 7, we need to have the 9 negative and the 2 be positive. Minus 9 plus 2 is negative 7. So we write the first step, 3x squared. I now write the negative 9x and then the plus 2x. Okay, these middle two terms should always add up to the middle term on top. Now we factorize the first two terms by taking out 3x as a common factor. So you're left with x minus 3. Then for the last two terms, you take out 2 as a common factor and you are left with x minus 3 again. So we have this common bracket. Therefore, we are going to write down, or we're going to take out the common bracket and write down what is left. So it's the 3x plus the 2 and the common bracket. That's how we factorize it. Now this example is a quadratic trigonometric expression. And to factorize it, we're going to be using the same rules. So let's first multiply the 2 and the 3. 2 times 3, that gives us 6. Then we find the factors of 6, which is 6 and 1, 2 and 3. Okay, which of these factors added together gives me negative 7? 6 plus 1 is 7, 3 plus 2 is 5. So it has to be 6 and 1. But to give us negative 7, 6 and 1 has to be negative. Minus 6 minus 1 gives us minus 7. Okay, so let's write it out. We'll say 2 sine squared theta. Then we minus the 6x, the 6 sine theta. And we minus the 1 sine theta. Plus 3. So we factorize. We first take out a sine. In fact, you can take out the 2 sine theta in front. 2 sine theta with the first two terms. That leaves me with a sine theta and a minus 3. Because you divide this by 2 and you remove the sine. Then we can factor out a negative 1 here. If I factor out negative 1, I'm left with sine theta and also a minus 3. The negative, once you factor it out, change the sign of this and of that. So this becomes positive and that negative. Now we use the common bracket method. So I take out sine theta minus 3 as our common bracket, and you are left with the 2 sine theta minus 1 and the common bracket. Okay. I hope you are starting to realize how easy this is becoming. The next example is just as easy as all the 4 that we've done so far. This again is a quadratic expression and we have to factorize it. Again, I'll start by multiplying the 2 with the 12. That gives me 24. So I write down the factors of 24, which is 24 and 1, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Now, the factors of 24 minus together to give me 5. That should be, I guess it's these, the 8 and the 3 again. So this time 8 has to be positive, 3 has to be negative, because we want to end up with positive 5. So I write 2x squared plus 8x minus, oops, there's a y as well. So I should say 8xy minus 3xy minus 12y squared. Okay, so we're going to take out a common factor. The common factor for the first two terms would be the 2x. So I factorize out the 2x. That leaves me with an x plus a 4y. Now I look at the last two terms and I factor out the negative 3y. So I take out negative 3y. That leaves me with x plus 4x. 3 goes into 12 4 times. So 4y. Then we take out a common factor or a common bracket. And what you are left with is the 2x minus the 3y. Next to that, you write down the common bracket. And that's it. Factorizing advanced trinomials is really not that advanced anymore.